This is the WGHT Morning Show. Why don't we talk like DJs?
Yeah.
8:35 on WGHT. Jimmy Howes and Greta Latona. Monster trucks. They're coming to the Prudential this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, with shows at 2 in the afternoon. On Saturday, there's another one, 2 and 7:30. We are graced on our airwaves, the driver of Gravedigger, Jon Zimmer, who's actually been driving since basically he was a kid. From motorbikes to dirt bikes and now monster trucks, he joins us on the morning show. Thank you for taking the time out.
Oh, thank you guys. I appreciate you having me on.
Hey, John, man, we're expecting a voice like, hey, how you doing? Good to be on the show. Yeah.
Well, it seems racing's in your blood. You came from Vermont, and as a kid, you just loved, to dabble, not only in the cars themselves, but actually in the hardware of the trucks to keep them running.
Yeah, I grew up in a small town, Vermont, and grew up around a lot of farms, and all my good friends were on farms, so I was always around there and messing with equipment. And I always liked the mechanic side of it, but I truly always loved driving anything.
And you were on the fast track. Once you got, a hold of that wheel, you really went up the ladder very quickly with these monster trucks.
I always joke and say I got the opportunity to drive, I think, 4 or 5 years into my mechanic's career, and once I drove, the rest was history. But I was lucky enough to have some great people behind me, and I think the passion for the fans shows in your driving. So for me, I was that little kid that would go to these shows that truly wanted to do this for a living, and once I got the chance to drive, I wasn't going to let any of those fans down.
Now, the Monster Truck Show is coming to the Pru-Center this weekend here, and WGHT Radio is very lucky to be, 19 miles from New York City, and we have the cable stations. What do we have? Some of us have 999 channels, and there isn't a time you can't go channel hopping without seeing monster trucks on one of the channels. And I would say that what you do for a living looks very, very dangerous.
Not at all. Actually, it's one of the safest forms of motorsports there is. I love being in my Monster Jam truck, which I call my office, and if you've seen videos of us, we crash the heck out of these things.
Yeah, they're demolished. They're upside down. They're twisting around. They're sideways. They flip backwards. That's insanity.
Yeah, and you'll see all that, and we get right out like it's nothing. So
how do you do it?
Just the safety of the trucks. It's evolved so much over the years that it's unreal what the truck will take for abuse, and it's amazing to me that I can crash like I do, and I get out and wave to the fans, and my crew guys get to work all week to make it better.
Now, is driving a monster truck like riding a bike? Are they all the same? Like, is there a certain criteria? Are they all the same size or some different?
So a Monster Jam truck it's the basics are the same. So the heights, the sizes, they're all similar as far as that. It's the interior, so where the driver would be, and basically the shock setup. Each of us have our own preferences of how our cabs are inside, or especially the shocks. Me being more of a mechanic, I have a lot of say in what goes on with my truck, so that's good for me.
We are with Jon Zimmer, driver of the Gravedigger. Monster Truck Show's coming to the Pru-Center this weekend in Newark. Now, one of the exciting things about Monster Trucks, the show, is I remember when you were at the Meadowlands, and we got to see the trucks outside before the show. The tires are tremendously large. The trucks, I've never seen anything so impressive in my life. You travel around the country and you do this show. How do you travel around with those trucks? How do they get around? Do they get taken apart and then put together before each gig?
Yeah, so basically the big tires, like coming here to Newark. So we'll show up Friday morning and we'll pull them out of the trailer. So they're on little tiny tires. They just look almost like dune buggies. And by the afternoon, we'll have the big tires on it, and it'll be all pretty and shiny, ready for us to go destroy.
Now, you're saying that what you do for a living is pretty safe, but that's being pretty modest. Somebody like you, Jon Zimmer, award-winning driver, gravedigger, daredevil, does a guy like you, are you a single guy, a Romeo guy, or are you a family guy? I would figure being what you do would be like being an astronaut. If you're a family guy, you must have a wife, you must have kids that worry about you and wonder if you're safe. Is that the story with you, or is your family involved with what you do with the Monster Truck Show?
So I am a family guy, and yes, my family is very much involved. So when I went on this crazy dream almost 18 years ago now, my wife was right there by my side, telling me to go for it.
Really?
Since then, I have a beautiful daughter who still lives in Vermont. She's 23 years old, and my son is 15, and he's actually getting ready to get into the sport once he turns 18, and that's his choice. I've always pushed him to maybe do something else, but this is what he wants. So, as a dad, I've loved to be able. I've loved the fact I've got to watch my son grow up and work on the trucks and learn the things from the other drivers. It really is a lot of fun for me.
So the hardest part of your job wouldn't be afraid of getting seriously hurt. I think it would be being away from your family. That
is the hardest part. So a lot of times I'm lucky they're right with me, and other times we'll go out for a month or two at a time where I don't get to see them. So that does get very stressful on us, but luckily we've done it so many years we know how to deal with it. And I think being in the U.S., it's a little easier because I know I can just jump on a plane and I'll be there in a couple hours. But we do go overseas now. We do a lot of worldwide stuff, and that's a little bit hard because if something was to happen while I was in Australia, it takes a little bit of time to get home.
Hey, John, we're with Jon Zimmer from Monster Trucks, driver of the Gravedigger. What country, in your opinion, enjoys the show more? I know they almost enjoy the show, blah, 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 normal history, and a normal answer, but what country gets the biggest kick? I mean, really, seeing the Monster Truck Show, because if you've never seen anything like that, it blows you away, especially live. What country do you find the fans are the most receptive to your show?
It's really hard to say. The U.S. obviously has seen us the longest, so people in the U.S. truly know what Monster Jam trucks are, and they definitely know what Gravedigger is. Australia is almost the same way. They get to see our TV programs, and they're into it. But it's fun. Like, I got the chance to go to the Philippines this year, so they definitely don't know what Gravedigger is or Monster Jam trucks. So when they got to see them, I think the fact that they've never seen anything like that in their lives was pretty cool to see their faces.
John, in real life, tell me you drive a minivan with like a Toyota minivan, or what's your
family car? He wants to know.
What do you drive in real life?
That's always our thing between me and Jimmy. That's why.
All right, do you drive one of those like family
sports
cars?
Car? What do you have?
Yeah.
So we actually have a couple different vehicles, but most are family cars. And then my son and I actually just restored a 1970 Chevrolet pickup truck that is his, and that's more of a hot rod type thing.
Up here in northern New Jersey, you see a lot of pickup trucks with the big wheels, almost emulating the monster trucks. It's really exciting to see them. But the suspension on those trucks compared to the suspensions on your trucks are a lot different. Is there any special equipment that you can give us the inside scoop on that are in those monster trucks so that when somebody or one of the kids go to one of your shows, they know not to try to do what you're doing?
Yeah, so everything about a Monster Jam truck is 100% one-off. We build everything in-house in our Feld, the Gravedigger shop. So like any vehicle or pickup truck you see on the road might have 8 inches of suspension at the most. We have over 30 inches of suspension. So that allows us to jump 30 feet in the air and take the abuse we take. If you did it with a normal pickup truck, you would not like the outcome.
It's important to say that because as a child, we would watch Evel Knievel on TV, and then we would grab one of our bicycles and go in the backyard and build a 6-foot ramp out of a piece of wood and break a leg or an arm. Now, besides that, you wear a lot of special gear. Obviously, you wear a special outfit, fireproof.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yep. So we all run what's called an IST seat, which is a custom molded seat to my body only, so unless you're exactly my size, you're not getting in my seat. We wear 7-point seatbelt harness, which is pretty amazing how well that holds you. And then on top of that, we wear the fire suits, the fire shoes, the fire gloves, and custom-made helmets.
Now, with the Monster Truck Show, are the fans still able to meet the drivers and see the trucks this weekend?
Oh, without doubt. One of our favorite things is the pit parties. And the pit parties is where the fans get to come right down, take pictures with the trucks, meet all of us. And we also stay after each show for autographs. So we'll stay till the last person leaves. And without lying to you, I've sat in places like Jacksonville, Florida till 4 a.m. just to make sure that last person got the autograph they wanted. So we know our fans are why we get to live this crazy lifestyle and drive these amazing Monster Jam trucks. So we will always take the time to meet and talk to them.
And that's great. It's just a family, great atmosphere for the Monster Jam shows and the drivers, family people as well. Now, this is definitely a lifestyle. It's not something like a 9-to-5 job. Is there ever any downtime for you? And what do you think about in your downtime hours? Or is it always trucks? Because it is a lifestyle.
It definitely is a lifestyle. I'd love to tell you that when I do have downtime, I don't think about it, but usually if we have downtime, my family and I either try to hit the beach where we're from and relax, but I don't think there's a day that it's not brought up or I don't get a phone call from someone to talk about it. Or, my son and I try to enjoy snowboarding when we get back to Vermont, and that usually lets me not think about it.
Hey, we're with the famous Jon Zimmer. Hey, John, we're up against the clock, and there's a question that I have to ask you, and no one has asked you this, so here it comes. How long does it take to build the track? And underneath all of that dirt, what do you see? How do they make it look like a dirt road? How do you build that thing?
Well, so we have a group, we call them the Dirt Crew.
The Dirt Crew.
They travel with us from show to show, and it blows my mind to see them take a place like the Prudential Center and say it's set up for hockey or basketball, whichever, on a Thursday night.
Right? Doesn't that blow your mind? That's why I'm asking. Yeah.
So by Friday morning, say, if they started at midnight, by noon on Friday, it'll be a fully dirt track. So they're amazing at what they do. They know how to set up the dump trucks in the dirt, and they go in there, they lay plywood down, they use plastic, and within hours we have a full race-ready Monster Jam track, and they take it apart just as fast. Is
it scientifically designed to match the horsepower or whatever, or is it just slapped up there? Is every track the same in every arena?
No, they're not the same at all. So they do. It's gotten so big now that they use computer design to build these tracks, and we call them hybrid tracks.
Right.
So they figure in the size of the venue, the amount of shutdown room, and all that, and what they create is the best possible show made out of dirt. So the hybrid is new. It's only a year old, and it's a blast to drive because we get these trucks more straight up and down than we ever have, and higher than we ever have in a small place. How
high is your average high jump? How high are you off the air in a truck? This is insane. How high are you?
So for in a smaller place, we can get 20 to 25 feet in the air.
That's crazy.
That's suicide. That's suicide, man.
I think the highest I've been is over 50 feet.
It's so exciting to watch this because, as a kid, I was huge with, the Hot Wheels cars and things like that. And that's actually, as a kid, that's what you did. You built the dirt track. You went with your car and you went to see, made a little ramp for it, and you did that, and you're living that in reality. So
living the dream.
It's such a great thing to talk to someone who's, living that lifestyle.
So it's a big deal.
I always joke and say that I'm still a kid. I just have a really big sandbox now.
Yeah. You're very blessed, Jon Zimmer. You're very blessed, and we're proud to have. Real quick, we're up against the clock. Where'd you get the name Gravedigger for your truck?
So Gravedigger was started 34 years ago by the Dennis Anderson. So the Anderson family still is very involved. Dennis drives his two sons, Adam and Ryden. Big and popular now that there's actually... It was the truck I saw back in 1986 that truly sparked me to go after this dream. I never thought that I would be driving for them, but since I am, it's a love because it's a perfect fit for me.
Well, John, you're a hero to a lot of kids, and you have a large fan base. I know you're very busy, and this is early in the morning for you, and we really appreciate the time, and it was an honor to have the driver and somebody that is the brawn and the brains behind the Monster Truck Show to join us this morning. It was a thrill, and it's this weekend at the Pru-Center. You can Google Monster Trucks, and you can get the whole schedule of appearances, where you'll be, what time the shows are, and maybe you can get some snippets of the clips and find it unbelievable like we do. Of course, we've been to one of the shows. We know what you're all about. But for somebody that's out there, a newbie looking for something to do, to bring their young teen or tween, or even if you own a truck, this is the place to be this weekend at the Pru-Center for the Monster Truck Show. And we're talking to one of the big stars of the show, the industry, Jon Zimmer. Thank you so much for joining us, and maybe we'll stop by and give you a handshake and say hi, and take a look at the Gravedigger this weekend.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just really excited. I've never actually driven in the Newark area, so I hope the fans come out to see what we got with old Gravedigger.
Well, Route 21 is just as dangerous as what you do, so you'll be all right. Jon Zimmer, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
There he is, Monster Truck's own Jon Zimmer, driver of the Gravedigger. He'll be at the Pru-Center this weekend. Be sure to check it out. Get your tickets. They're online now. Staying alive.